on the season, or at least on the game. What a bummer. What can you do though? It is what it is. They again, the offense did not take care of business. It had to be done. Few opportunities. I mean, they just had no chance. It seemed like against the left-handed relievers for the Braves. Um, that's part of it. I mean, that's just part of it. The whole Bueller starting over the bullpen. I would have gone over the bullpen. Bueller did okay. That last sequence, even Doc spoke about it, even though he tried not to throw anyone under the bus. He did. He threw Bueller and Smith a little bit under the bus there about changing speeds. That Rosario was on the velocity. So and he's right. Um, that just didn't work out. Rosario was hot. You had a base open. You had a lefty getting loose. It was Vesia. As we know, Vesia came in and walked three guys after that, or the next time through the order for those guys. So, uh, yeah, um, not the way you want it. Let me just do a quick adjustment here. Get my window out of the way. There we go. A little bit better. Whatever. um, So yeah, we give him that. I was wondering where Brule might have been. I mean, he's been better against lefties than Vesia. Vesia has just been a little more solid against both lefties and righties, but Brule has been really good against them. And I'm just wondering, he may still not have been healthy, or Doc just didn't trust him. Doc has a pecking order on his pitchers. He would much rather go with guys that he trusts, and that's a pretty small. Um, List. Obviously, he trusts Bueller. Um, Last year he trusted Urias, but he didn't trust him this year against the Giants when he only let him go 4 innings. In that game 5, he should have gone more. That was kind of the avalanche that started with Scherzer coming in because they just ran out of pitchers. They had to in that game, at least of people he trusts. So he trusts, obviously Trinan and Jansen. He trusts Kershaw. Um, he definitely trusts Scherzer. So I just think that list needs to expand. The bullpen by the end of the year was probably the best we've seen for the Dodgers in a long time. Very pleased with that, or with the way they worked this year. You know, just a really strong bullpen by the end of the year, and that's without Victor Gonzalez, who just could not find the zone this year. Brusdar came along really strong and became dominant again, which is a good thing. So very pleased with that. So the bullpen was really good. A lot of free agents coming out of that bullpen, though. Or off the top of my head, Jansen and Knebel are two of the big ones. You just hope somehow that things can work out. I know that. You can't. We're not going to get them all. Last year was they really didn't replace a lot of the guys that they lost in free agency. At least some of the guys. They got to do better than that this offseason. We know that Jock and Kike were going to leave for better playing time. That's fine. I understand that. But the guys that came in did not necessarily take care of business. A lot of the guys from AAA, Lux did come on strong at the end, but a lot of those other guys, the bench was noticeably weaker. Losing Eddie Rios was hard. Was a tough one too. I mean, he was terrible at the beginning of the season. It's probably because his shoulder was thrashed. Yeah. At the end of the day, the top of the order didn't do their job. Top 4 were terrible. The guys that did the job consistently, it seemed like, at least near the end, was Belly and Pollock and Taylor. No outs, runners on second and third. You can't get anyone home. 3 strikeouts against one of the, I can't remember the guy's name. I'm tired. tired and exhausted from that. You can't do that. You're just not going to win the baseball game. So they didn't. It's going to be a new year. Free agency is going to hit hard. There's just a lot of guys eligible for free agency. I don't have the complete list, but Seager, Taylor, Scherzer, Kershaw, Jansen, Knebel, Joe Kelly, off the top of my head. Those are kind of the big ones that I see, and then there's more I'm just missing. Danny Duffy, Cole Hamels, a couple more that never worked out for us, which is too bad. It would have been nice if one of those guys could have shared a little bit of the burden. I know they tried, and it was a good attempt by the Dodgers, but it only cost them a little bit of money. And I guess we lost a prospect, and I think it was Zach Williman was the prospect we gave up for Danny Duffy. So bummer. Time to look forward. I am working on an article. I do it every year. It's kind of the state of the Dodgers after the season, for 2021. Last year's was a lot funner to write because they won. And so, like I've been telling people, enjoy what we have. Winning. Winning this in 2020 was a big deal. I mean, I know I enjoyed the heck out of it. I've see some of my artwork back there, a couple things, and I've got all sorts of stuff that I've purchased, jerseys and things like that represent the 2020 season, which was one of my favorite seasons of all time. I do want to be able to go to a parade though, and so 2022, let's do it. We do have the All-Star game in 2022. Biggest question mark going into 2022, though, has nothing to do directly with the Dodgers. It has to do with the collective bargaining agreement that is coming up. Sorry, but I'm getting it all dry here. The collective bargaining agreement comes up, and who knows what's going to happen. I cannot afford a strike. If there's a strike, I don't know what'll happen. I don't know if I think some of us might not even come back, and that might even include me. Just don't want to see that again. I lived through it in 1981. There was always threats of strikes before that, and then there was a small one in 85, and then we had the grand poobah of them all in 1994, where we lost the World Series, and then we almost had replacement players. Just an absolute disaster, which would have cost Cal Ripken his streak before he would have broken Lou Gehrig's record. So that would have been just horrible. That streak is obviously never going to be broken. I mean, they won't let that happen. And it's not because of anything special that they say, oh, can't let it be broken. They're just not going to do that to players anymore. Ripken was great. His numbers would have been a lot better if he probably would have sat down a bit and rested. But he never sat, kept playing, threw everything, through, 20 different batting stances, slumps, everything. That'll never happen again. The Dodgers, you can see how they do it. They'll go and they'll sit a guy down, once every week, once every 2 weeks at the max, and seems to work. It's a little frustrating when you go to a ball game and you're expecting to see a Mookie Betts and he's sitting for a planned, as Doc calls it, giving a blow. I hate that term. It sounds foul, and it really sounds foul when other people say it too, like I just did. But I was giving them the day off. So that's no more Ripken streaks. So the Dodgers do need to find a way to stay healthy. This was a bad year for health. Way too many injuries. I don't know what the problem is. I also think that they do need to do something about hitting. I'm not saying fire anybody, but I think you add somebody into the hitting rotation there that's had major league success and is in the dugout during games. It's great to have drills, and I know every player has their own hitting guys that they go to, which is fine, but you got to be able to adjust. And sometimes they do adjust, sometimes they don't. It just seems like maybe they need a reminder. Um, the Dodger main hitting coach had about as good a high school numbers as I did, um, which wasn't much. Um, Not saying that I would be a good hitting coach. In fact, I'd be terrible at it. I know how to work I know about working counts and things like that. But in terms of form and things like that, there's sometimes there's a different specialty there. And a hitting coach is a very valuable thing. And having someone you trust that knows your swing is a big deal. So it and I'm a coach, but 12 12 and under, big difference. I want the guys, my team to go to who they feel like, and then I'm not going to contradict them. Right now, my kids are just kind of learning advanced baseball, and so I don't do anything like going, hey, I want them to take 3 big hacks, but that's not major leagues. Major leagues, you got to work the count. Major leagues, you got to adjust. The pitches that come are nasty. Baseball is just such a hard sport, and I do know that for someone who hasn't seen a live fastball since early '90s, I think it was 1993 was the last time I saw one. It's hard. I still remember, and it's always something I try to remember when the players are struggling at the plate, how hard this game is, and to sit there and just go, oh, just go the opposite way. And there's something to that, to go, hey, you got to you adjust a little bit and adjust your mentality, and maybe quote, choke up on the bat a little bit. But it's a hard game, and it's kind of like I don't want to tell my kids, hey, throw a strike when they're struggling. It's hard. They're struggling, and baseball's a hard game, and so even with the Dodgers, gotta give them a little bit of grace in that way. It was a very turbulent season. It really did start out, and I know my pal AJ Gonzalez thinks some, and some others really they put some blame on somebody, and that the redacted one, and I don't blame them. I look at that as I was not against the signing. I was kind of it's like, oh, okay, whatever, but it's against I'm against whatever he may have done, whether he's proven innocent or not. Bad behavior, bad judgment, really hurt the team. It helped burn the team out, the starting pitching and the pitchers in general. I mean, it's great that we got Scherzer. That was really cool to have Max Scherzer, and I hope he stays. But what the letdown that was to the team, I don't think, even if he's innocent or whatever, found innocent or not guilty or whatever, that he's coming back. I think that bridge is burned. He really let his team down with his behavior. Criminal or not, he put himself in a terrible situation. And criminal or not, I don't know. I'm not. We'll find out someday, and then we'll see that judgment there. But for the letdown that had was a huge thing. Obviously, Dustin May going down was bad. David Price not being able to really come out of the box as a starter hurt, especially when people were going down. He did fine in relief. I mean, he wasn't bad. I was there when he got his I think it was his save against the Rockies, and that was cool. That was on Jackie Robinson night when he got that save. And I was thinking the next night, I think he got a win and got a hit or a sacrifice fly or something like that against the Padres. So there's little nuggets inside the season that I choose to focus on now. I'm going to go with things like signing Albert, watching the growth of Gavin Lux, watching the turnaround of Cody Bellinger in the playoffs, watching AJ Pollock change the narrative about him as a playoff player. that was pretty cool. Chris Taylor walk off against the Cardinals, and then having his 3 home run game was pretty special. You can't take that away from him, despite the total end result. There's some great things that happened during the season. Julio Urias, 20 wins. I know people say wins don't matter, but you ask any starting pitcher in the major leagues with a lie detector on, and they will tell you how much those wins mean to them. It is a big deal. Analytically, yeah, it doesn't mean a darn thing, but for a pitcher, it matters. So I think that it's a cool thing. And Walker Buehler had a fantastic season. Kenley Jansen really just became really good again. Blake Trinan doing his thing, throwing video game balls. So a lot of good stuff. Brusdar coming back. He started, I don't know what happened during the off season. I've heard COVID or whatever, but he wasn't ready for spring training. And he had a rough start, got sent to the minors a couple times, but he came back and was really good during the playoffs. Joe Kelly had a really nice season. Max Muncy, gosh darn it. To be honest, we gave up the World Series when he went down. Let's be honest. We just know that. There was no way to replace him or anything like that. It just is what it is. But that's just that feeling you had when that happened. There are no excuses. Dodgers I think they still should have beat the Braves. I think there are some things a couple things here and there that go better and they win. And they're playing the Aztecs. By the way, go Braves, and congratulations to the Braves. Well-earned win. Edwin Rosario, what the heck. And a guy like Brian Snitker, that's a guy that's been around forever, and for him to get to the World Series is a cool thing, and I hope he gets the win. I love Dusty Baker, but he's managing some players that I have absolutely no respect for, and have not apologized in any way, taken really any accountability for what they did. It was just some sayings, and you know how Correa feels. He's a big mouth, and put it this way, if he becomes a Dodger for some reason without any type of formal apology, I'm gone. I don't want anything to do with that. I mean, we already had enough with Bauer. I know Correa's different than Bauer, even though him and his back rubs are interesting. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with players like that took something away from the city of Los Angeles, but specifically those players in 2017. So I'll be covering things such as free agents, but obviously the minor leagues. There's a lot of exciting things coming with the minor leagues, below AAA mostly. And we did trade 2 of our top prospects in Keibert Ruiz and Josiah Gray, along with Gerardo Carrillo and Donovan Casey. Those are guys I liked. I liked all those guys. And but there's some guys coming. We're loaded at catcher still. That's probably why they felt comfortable letting go of Ruiz. They didn't really want to let him go, but it was the right thing to do. And there's more right-handed pitching coming. We got some third baseman and a second baseman and an outfielder. So we'll talk about those over the next few days, few weeks. I'm going to keep things as live as possible. I kind of like doing that. At least it feels like I'm talking to somebody. Trying to just record when I know that there's no one there. And I don't know if there's anyone viewing right now. Kind of doesn't matter. As long as I think I'm talking to someone, I'm good. So that's the 2021 Dodgers. Heck of a season. Would always wish for more, but really proud of the team, overcoming a lot. And we shall, it's going to be an interesting offseason with all these free agents, so expect a lot of change. It'll be surprising. Friedman always does, Andrew Friedman always does that. He's always got something up his sleeve. Getting Max Scherzer and Trey Turner in the trade deadline was absolutely insane. And let's see what he's got coming up next. There are needs. Infield defense is one of them. It's bad. It's been pretty bad. It needs to be better. Muncy is the best, and Lutz was pretty good second when he was there. But the rest of it hasn't been very good, and so that needs to improve. Starting pitching depth obviously is going to have to be addressed because we just ran out. I think in a couple of years when guys like Bobby Miller and Ryan Pepe were ready to go, it'll be a different story. We'll have plenty of depth right there. I would have liked to have seen Andre Jackson pulled up somehow as some depth, but so it wasn't meant to be. And there's a lot of Mitchell White. People support Mitchell White, and so do I. But I like Andre's stuff a lot. So I think both Mitchell and Andre will compete next year for some type of roster spot. I hope they're not turned into one-inning guys. I think they need to stay being able to do both, kind of like a strip, Ross Stripling. We need guys like that can come in and throw more than an inning, because it seemed like just about every reliever, other than maybe Trinan, was a one-inning guy. And so the bullpen games were truly bullpen games. It was one inning, and you hope to get two out of somebody or throw a bulk guy in there. And there's a lot of needs, and so we'll discuss that over and over and over with different thoughts. And if you have any thoughts about the off season coming up, drop them in the comments. Appreciate that. The good old like and subscribe if you can. Comments are really welcome. I'd like to see that. See what you guys think. So that's it for now. Talk to you guys soon. All right. Adios.